What up, y'all? I know we late, but my new work schedule is crazy, so y'all just gonna have to bear with us, cause your boy is tired. Anyway, y'all know how I like to start the show. Hey, I don't care what y'all say. That is like the best theme music ever, ever, ever. Okay, the best theme music ever is that NBA on NBC theme, the old school one. That is like my most favorite theme music ever of all time. Like for real. Because like I promise, bro. Like I be so into that one, man. Like it's just you should come on to the '90s, boy. Hey, real talk. I'm gonna pull a curtain back for a little bit, and just to show y'all a little something, just to kind of introduce y'all to a little something. That's my homeboy I grew up with, right? Like me and this dude been knowing each other since we was like knee high to a grasshopper, like no BS, like real talk. And like we used to play in our homeboy, like actually like one of my cousins, like a distant cousin, Ian's backyard, because he had like a little half court back there with the adjustable rim and everything else. And we would either play there or we would go sneak into this one schoolyard where we would play at or whatever. But like one time, I remember we did the whole Bulls intro thing, like, and was like introducing each other and stuff. Like we used to do all kind of stuff, man. Like it was dope. It was dope. And then especially if we played like at the big park off of Napoleon and Magazine Uptown, where everybody came to play, literally from all over the city and sometimes from out of town. Because we ran the best games uptown. Like no bullshit. You guys anybody in the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s a little bit, not like before Katrina hit for sure. Like pre-Katrina on back, like Uptown on Napoleon and Magazine was the best basketball in the city of New Orleans. And you could argue with your mama on that one. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you say St. Rock. I don't care if you talk about what's that other spot that was across the river or whatever. Like I don't care, it's somewhere in the east, whatever. Like you can talk about wherever you want. Holly Grove, you know what I'm saying? Nah, best basketball in the city was played uptown New Orleans in Napoleon and Magazine at our park. Like real talk. But we used to always do that kind of stuff, man, just cause it was just hype for us like to get into it, cause we was all Michael Jordan fans and watching the Bulls and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And it was just something for us to get into even more, and we loved it. You know what I'm saying? It was just one of them things that we thought was dope and we got into, and we was like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? We gonna do this right. So we would have a good time with it and everything, man. And Jay, bro, I might have to pull it out of the repertoire, Paul. I might have to use that one of these days, man. Like, especially if we get the gang on here. Probably, you know what? That's an idea. I'm gonna keep in the tuck for a special episode. That's what I'm gonna do with that. That's exactly what I'm gonna do with that. But yeah, man, I know it's like the most dead day in sports today because there aren't really any games on or anything like that. MLB just had their All Star game yesterday. The ESPYS are on right now. There's not a whole lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying going on. Then we got some WNBA scores. Um, some summer league stuff, but some women's Euro stuff and soccer. But nothing of consequence, like some MLS stuff, but nothing like super major to where we're like, oh my gosh, we got to make sure we talk about this. Like nothing really, we did see a buyout. So Bradley Beal got bought out by the Suns, which was widely reported. I want to say starting maybe last week or so. That buyout was reported, or reportedly on, coming up because they haven't been able to find a trade partner for him. He has a no trade clause. And he has a huge contract, which makes it like that much more difficult to trade him somewhere, making the kind of money that he's making, and plus with him having control over his destination. So they couldn't do it at the trade deadline. They couldn't do it after the season. They couldn't do it after the draft, before the draft, nothing. So it was just best for them. Okay, let's part ways, buy you out. And now he's cleared to join the Clippers on a 2-year, looks like $11 million deal. Which I pretty much knew he was going to get veteran minimum money for a minimum amount of years because he's so injury prone. And it's sad to say, but I mean, when you look at it and you look at his career, like Bradley Beal hasn't played a full 82 games. I put it to you like this: Bradley Beal hasn't played more than 70 games since the 18-19 season. Okay. Um, so just like since then, minus the COVID season, he played in 60 games, 40 games, 50 games, 53, and then 53. Your best ability is your availability. And when you're not available, it becomes a detriment to you. Now, we're talking about someone who's available a little more than half of the season. And I remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about the Kevin Durant trade. And matter of fact, I was talking about it just this past Saturday afternoon. I went to my barber because you see, I got the beard cleaned up, trimmed down a little bit. It was time for a reset to regrow it out. It's just like when women have long hair and they get a little bit of split ends or some breakage or something like that. And not the big chop, because the big chop would have been like I'm trimming it all the way off or cutting it down to where it's like super brush length or something like that. I'm not doing that. But like I just went and basically got the breakage and the split ends trimmed off to start from a little bit of scratch. You know what I'm saying? That's all I did. But like me and Quincy, we talk all the time. And that's really how we became more than just barber and client. That's like really one of my best friends out here since I moved to Houston. Because he was actually cutting my hair. Well, no, I was going to that barber shop before I even moved here when I would come and visit my mom. But then I started going to him after I moved here, and that just became my barber. And I don't switch barbers. Don't matter if I'm bald or what, but this beard still gotta look good. And every so often I like somebody else to give me a nice, clean, razor shave. But anyway, man, we was talking about that, and like I told him, I was like, listen, I like the move. And he was like, yeah, but he's not always available, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, bro, that's not the point. I was like, his last 3 years have been one of the most a 3-year efficiency run that hardly nobody has had nobody has had in NBA history. I was like, so if you get that type of scoring and shooting efficiency in roughly 75% of the games that the Rockets play, that's great. It's better than getting less efficient scoring and shooting for 80 or so games. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it works out. And so it is what it is. That was an interesting move on Bradley Beal. Pick up very talented player, but always exactly. And this is another thing that I say about the Clippers. When I heard that he was going to potentially sign with the Clippers if he's bought out or whenever he was bought out by the Suns, I was like, I don't think this makes the Clippers any better. And shout out to Jonathan Watson over at Sports for You podcast, their wrestling and their sports podcast. He and I were chopping it up when I posted the tweet from the pod account, and we were talking about it. And I told him, I was like, bro, I think it actually makes this team worse, if anything, because Kawhi's always hurt, Bill's always hurt. Harden's been pretty durable, but he doesn't have that killer instinct, that championship DNA that most people have that play at that higher upper echelon level. He's still in his mid-30s and still playing at a good level, but it's just like he does not have that killer instinct. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different when you get a guy like that who can play the bulk of the games in the season, who is in his mid 30s and can still hoop at a high level, but he doesn't give you that quality of production or that quality of play. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of them things, man. Oh, what up, Dre? That's 290 truck driver Dre. Got to get them Dre's straight. They both a menace, but I appreciate you, dog. My boy always tuning in, man. Shout out to him, man. I had got some natural, like, raw, no process, no nothing, just straight from the honeycomb honey for him. And I was working on his side of town, and I was like, bro, don't worry about it. As soon as I finish my shift and I clock out and everything, we'll meet up. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, well, where you at? And I said, well, look, I'm over here by the mall or whatever. I'm walking around doing my thing in the neighborhood, whatever. Next thing you know, somebody pull up on me in a truck and was like, hey, I look, I was like, who the fuck is this talking to me? That was his ass. He found me. I don't know how he found me. I gotta check and see if I'm sharing my location with him or something, man. Because however he did, he found me. And I was like, oh, bro, how you find me? He was like, man, I know this neighborhood. Da, 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 da. I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's what's up. But yeah, man, shout out to Dre for pulling up. That's why he laughing. Hey, bro, that shit was hilarious because my coworkers was like, "Hey, he is a truck driver." It's exactly. But it was so funny though, bro, because like my coworkers was like, "You know him or something?" I was like, "Man, that's one of my good best friends since I moved to Houston." I said, "We've been knowing each other for almost like 15, 20 years or so now." And it was like, oh, okay, okay. I said, yeah, I had something for him, and I figured we'd be on this side of town again today, so I just brought it up here with me. I was gonna meet him, either on lunch or after my shift or whatever. He pulled up on me, but it was cool to see him, man. That's my guy right there. Always showing love and support. Between Bill, Leonard being injured all the time, they'll be lucky to get a play in. Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, Bill gonna play 50 something games. Kawhi gonna play like 50 something games, and then it's gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? Can you? What my stat is, I want to know how many games those three guys are going to play together. All three being healthy, all three playing in the game together. I'm not even talking. It got to be a minimum of 20 minutes on the floor together. I'm just gonna say be healthy and play in a game together. I'm gonna put that over and under at like between 30 and 35, somewhere like that. I'm gonna say 33 and a half is my over and under. Mark it, write it down. Is right at the 13-minute or so mark of episode 83 of Susio Sports, presented by Inplay Dogs and Jail Blasters. But shout out to the sponsors as always. But mark that down. I'm saying 33 and a half is the over and under for how many games Harden, Beal, and Kawhi are going to play together, all at the same time. So let's see how that's going to work out. But it Vaughn Miller is expected to sign with the Washington Commanders. Vaughn has a little he has a little something left in the tank. He really does. I will give him that. However, what I will say is I'm not sure how much he's going to help the Commanders defense. Maybe just as a situational pass rusher, that may be cool. But I don't know, man. I would have to see how their defense sets up and what it looks like, because they're already talking about Marshawn Lattimore not being worth the fourth rounder or whatever they gave the Saints for him, which I kind of knew. I was still hoping against hope that he would have something left in the tank and bring to that Commanders defense, but he really didn't, and it's looking like he's just going to be way too often injured and just not be as productive as everyone was expecting. So I mean, it is what it is, man. You can't. Sometimes you can get a guy and you can squeeze a little bit more juice out of an overripe fruit. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes, you peel that banana, it's got a little brown on it, but you know what? I could make a banana pudding or something, something with it. And sometimes when you have a little banana that's a little overripe, it's actually sweeter than when it's freshly ripened. Because my grandmother, I remember my grandmother, I want to say she still does it to this day. Like she'll let them sit there and get a little bit of brown on them, then she'll eat them. Sometimes she may eat them, when they're fully ripened, nice and yellow. But sometimes she says, wait till it gets just a tinge of brown on it, then go for it. That's when it's at its sweetest. So I don't know, man. Like sometimes people look at these teams that pick up these older players, they have a name and everything, and they have a history in the past. But it's like, what can you do for me now? Not what have you done in the past, or your accolades and awards that you've won, or the contract that you used to have, or whatever it is, or it maybe even the current contract that you under, but you just at the tail end of it and you ain't got nothing left. If you ain't got nothing left to provide for us this season, this 2025 season, going forward, then it's not worth it. It don't matter what they did before and what they used to do and what they were capable of, is what can you do for me now? And that's why you look at the Clippers picking up a Bradley Beal, or that's why you look at the Commanders picking up Von Miller or whatever. Hell, even look at the Bills picking up oh, what's the Bosa? Joey Bosa. Yeah, because Nick is the one that plays for the 49ers. I had to check right quick. It was hot outside today. I was working, bro. But yeah, man, like you even I think that he'll help their defense out because Bosa still does, but he's again older player, very productive in his past, but now he's been getting injured more. And so when you see guys like a Bosa, a Von Miller, a Bradley Beal, or whoever, go and sign with these teams later on in their career, it is shit. It's the same thing in Major League Baseball. Same exact thing. You see these guys and they may have a little bit of power left, but they can't catch up to that fastball as quick as they used to, or they can't turn on that curveball like they used to, or they can't lay off that inside, breaking ball or whatever anymore. Like you see guys' skills diminish. And when you see a guy's skills diminish, it's no longer valid. It's like, great, he's cool to have around the team in the locker room or whatever. But if you can't provide anything for us, even situationally, like let's say you got a man on second, a man on third, you down by 2 runs, and you got the winning or the go ahead run at the plate, and you got a lefty on the mound, and this guy can still hit lefties, and you bring him in a pinch hit situation. Okay, cool. Or like situational pass rushers in the NFL, it's 3rd and 14 in a crucial point in the game, and that right tackle cannot handle a speed to power rush. And so okay, I know Von Miller got a few snaps. He got at least 15, 20 snaps in him a game. If that's what it is, okay, cool. Or if you have a Bradley Beal and you say, hey, you know what, bro, check this out. We're going to bring you in. But listen, we only want to play you 20 to 25 minutes a night because we want to play you those 20 to 25 minutes a night. But we want you for as many games out of this 82 game schedule as we can have you. That's why we're going to reduce your minutes and kind of reduce your role. And you're going to be like our microwave Vinny Johnson coming off the bench as a scoring threat. You know what I'm saying? That's an old school Detroit Pistons reference for some of y'all that ain't old enough to remember that. Look that up. Ask your daddy, ask your uncle about it. But that's the thing that, and the bad thing about it is with some athletes as they age, their ego gets in the way. And they still think that they're that same person they were when they were that all NBA or all pro in the NFL, or they're on the pro baseball writers all pro selection team or whatever. Shit, we just had that in wrestling. Fucking Oldberg wanted his retirement match and bitched and moaned about it enough to where WWE said, here, nigga, damn. They basically gave him a here nigga damn retirement match. And he still complained about it, even though they put him in the ring with Gunther to give him a solid good match. Best 15-minute match of Goldberg's career. And he's still complaining about it. It's like, bruh, they're broadcasting on NBC. If something else goes long in that show, they got a hard out. They can't. They can't. Bro, they literally cannot do anything about that. Okay. So what the fuck do you want them to do? Like they have to cut it off right there. Like I've done national radio before, and in national radio you have hard ins and hard outs. A hard end is you rejoin that show at 9:11 p.m. You're coming back from commercial, and you're going to your next commercial at 9:18 p.m. I got that 7 or so minute window. Sometimes it's a little bit smaller depending on the intro and the outro to get my shit in, and I got to get it in and get in and get out on time. Like I don't get it, but anyway, man. J Real, Carmelo Anthony was a prime. Thank you, thank you. Once Melo finally realized, you know what? Maybe I'm not 20 to 25 point a game Melo anymore. Maybe I'm no longer the Batman. Maybe I need to be a Robin or hell, even an Alfred on some of these squads. Or maybe not even that. Maybe I just need to be support staff. Once he realized that, Melo had a great last couple of years. I'm gonna say great in terms of what he's used to doing, but as far as playing a role and filling that role for especially that Portland team when he did great. The Rockets couldn't figure it out. So that's what happened. It is what it is, man. And the more I see it, the more athletes that realize and recognize, hey, I ain't got it no more. I just gotta give what I can, the better off they'll be. How about the All-Star game Indy swing off? What a joke. I I knew somebody was gonna bring it up at some point. So we might as well go ahead and talk about it since Dre on 290 brought it up. So the reason why, and I'm gonna explain it first. The MLB All-Star game, if it's tied after the ninth inning or so, they go to basically a swing off, like a home run derby. They pick two guys that's still eligible to play in the game, one from each side, and they basically have a home run derby, and that determines the winner. The reason why they started doing this is because when you got baseball and you play extra innings until one team is just up and they win the game or whatever, and whoever's the home team gets to bat at the bottom of the inning, so they get a chance too. So it's like you could just keep going and going and going and going. It's an exhibition game. And in those exhibition games, they're already going to run through pitchers and position players and things like that simply because it's three. I thought it was just one guy for each side. It's three guys for each side. That just goes to show you, like, I really haven't been, like, I've only seen it maybe one other time besides last night that it happened. And I want to say it may have been in the first year they decided to pick up that rule, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody look that up for me and let me know if I'm wrong or not. But I remember one time there was an all-star game that went to the point where they had to use position players as pitchers because they ran out of pitchers and stuff. Three guys each side, 3 swings per player. Okay, so it's not even that. Come on, dog. I know you don't like it or nothing, but I'm saying, though, it's better than them playing, like, let's say they get to the 14th, 15th inning, and you got freaking the backup, one of the outfielders who's like a star on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now he has to pitch because you've run through all your pitchers. Or do you have a rule where you got to bring guys back, but then now you using arms and guys are throwing more than what they were expected to throw, especially for an exhibition game? Like, you got to find a happy medium. And baseball was like, in order to avoid the wear and tear on our players, avoid to let everybody get in and participate in everything, we still gonna run the All-Star game like we have. We still gonna let the pitchers throw, minimal innings or pitches or whatever, and then we just gonna end it like this. Well, see, the thing is, they don't want to end it in a tie because they had the bright idea the winner gets home field advantage in the World Series, which I think is ridiculous. I think it's stupid. I think best record in the league should get you home field advantage in the World Series. I don't think they should have that All-Star game tie-in because you put too much pressure on winning an exhibition game, and the managers aren't going to manage that game like a regular game. they're going to manage it to win, but they're also going to stick to the script as far as the All-Star game is concerned. Okay, the starters, you're going to pitch one inning or so, bring a couple of more guys in for an inning or so, maybe two innings or something like that. But it's always a gentleman's agreement handshake like, hey, man, look, I don't want my guy throwing more than X amount of pitches. I don't want him staying out there for more than two innings, if he's a starter or whoever. I don't want my guy, blah, 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 blah. I don't want my outfielder out there, for more than 3, 4 innings. I don't need my shortstop out there, like, you know what I'm saying, taking too many grounders or whatever. They got a lot of right-handed pull hitters, on that in that lineup. I don't need him out there breaking an ankle or something like that, trying to get to a ball or whatever. So it's it's just it is what it is. This is what we got. This is what we got to work with as far as I'm concerned. And so we just got to live with it. What can we do? We can't do nothing about it because as much as people bang the table and hate the idea, they're still gonna go through with it. They're gonna try to find the happiest medium they can. And right now, this is what we got. And I personally, I happen to like it because you still get a definitive winner, and it's a different way. It's basically like a soccer shootout. It's like you in regular time, you in extra time, right? Okay, boom, cool. Now we got the extended period. Okay, boom, we still tied. Okay, cool. Tournament format, boom, we're gonna go to the shootout. Shootout, line up your five, I'll line up my five, and we're gonna go at it. And you go until you get a winner. Like that's the way I like it. Let me see. MLB All-Star Game no longer determines home field advantage in the World Series since 2017. Home field advantage is awarded to the team with better regular season record. Just looked it up. You sure? Because I remember they was still doing that dumb shit at one point. But see, this just goes to show you, and I trust Dre because Dre actually goes to a ton of Astros games or whatever. So he's really plugged in and knows the sport. So a lot of the times, like I defer to people who like know they stuff when it comes to like stuff like this. So hey, but they want a winner. They don't want to leave it as a tie. So it's like, all right, cool. Let's just end it like this. I mean, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. The scoring totals in baseball this season has been crazy high. What do you think is the cause? Not only that, but you got a guy like Cal Riley who has one of the highest pre All-Star break home run totals in history. Not just since this or whatever, in history. Honestly, bruh, like some people say they've still been playing with the ball or whatever, and I believe that could be true. I'm also gonna put a little bit of that also on just the way um just the way pitchers are pitching and now hitters are gearing towards it, and also that clock. That pitching clock may have a lot to do with it as well. So I'm just wondering sometimes, like, is it the pitching? Is it the hitting? Like, what are we really talking about? What are we really getting into right now? You know, there's blame to place, or I guess not really blame, but like there's credit to be given on both sides. Like the hitters are getting better, the pitchers are also getting better, but just for some reason right now the hitters are better than the pitchers. Also, that bat controversy that happened earlier this baseball season, that kind of has a little bit to do with it as well. I want to say the last time we left off talking about it, I want to say MLB put a kibosh to it, like they halted it until they could figure out, if they should keep going with it or not. The torpedo bats or whatever they were called, but I do know that that pitch clock kind of speeds things up a little bit, and I want to say average time for an MLB game. Let's see for 2025. Let's see. It's expected to be around 2 hours and 40 minutes, or similar to what it was last year and similar to what it was the year before. Now, in 2022, average game time was 3 hours and 4 minutes. 2021, it was 3 hours and 10 minutes. So you go from 3 hours and 10 minutes to 2021, 3:04 in 2022 to about 2:40 the last couple of seasons. So to me, that pitch clock has a lot to do with that because it's speeding things up and it's making things go, a little bit faster. That could have a lot to do with, pitchers not really, having as much time as they thought. But the thing is this is like the third season that they've been into this. So guys should be used to it by now. Like you've had several seasons and off seasons and whatnot to get used to this. So if you're not used to it now, that's on them. I'm curious if Riley is getting the Goldilocks balls. See, that's just what I was talking about, bro. Like we still thinking that they're playing around with the baseball. And Major League Baseball has done this several times throughout their history. I mean, going all the way back to like the early 1900s, the dead ball era, and like the live ball era, a few, couple decades ago or whatever. So it's just like, damn, like, what do you do? And it's crazy because we say they need to just leave the game alone and traditionalists and stuff like that, but it's like MLB used to be America's pastime. It was the most popular sport in the country outside of boxing decades ago. And it started falling off because as society grew and got younger, more technologically advanced, there's more forms of entertainment for people to intake. Why do I want to sit here and endure a 3+ hour, 9+ or sometimes 9+ inning baseball game? And it's slow paced. The game is actually slow paced itself. You need to speed things up. Offense creates, offense sells tickets. So they had to figure out something. And changing the balls is one of those things that they're doing. Now, Dre does make a good point. MLB games are still shorter than NFL games. That is true. That is true. Because let me see. NFL. Yeah, NFL game is about 3 hours and 12 minutes. Even though it's a 60-minute timed game, it's still about 3 hours and 12 minutes. So I don't know, man. Like Jay, I gotta look that up because I haven't like, you know what I'm saying? I haven't compared the scoring of the games yet. I haven't even looked at that yet. So I'm gonna have to get on that. Matter of fact, I need to write that down for in my notes or something to remember to what you call it to look at that stat and the MLB scoring from season to season because that's just one of them things, man, where I don't know, like let's see if we can look this up. Okay, so we are looking at run score per game. It's at the exact almost at the exact same as it was last season. So since 2022, we're looking at 4.28, 2023, 4.62. It jumped up and then it went back down 2024, 4.39. And right now they're at a 4.38. So I know sometimes it may seem like it's higher or whatever, but you got to look at like games across the board, the whole league average. So that's one of those things that you got to look at. Scoring is higher, but home run numbers are down with the higher seams. It Let's see what because I know Baseball Reference got see that same. Remember that when I said 2022 It was one, then it jumped up, then it went back down. Look at the home runs per season. 2022, 1.07. That year when the scoring per game went up to 4.62 from that 4.28 in 2022, from 2023, 1.21 home runs per game. Scoring per game went back down in 2024, 4.39, 1.12 home runs a game. Same thing with this year, 4.38 average runs per game, 1.12 home runs per game. So it's like the proof right there in the pudding. I'm reading the numbers right off of Baseball Reference. So shout out to them because they do a good job of putting together not just the statistics, but also the analytic statistics that you can look at on their website as well. So shout out to them, man, for all the hard work that they do. Basically, hitters and teams are getting more hits. Let's look at that. Um, it's the same thing the last 4 years. In 2023, everything jumped up a bit. 2022, 8.16 hits a game. 2023, 8.4 hits a game. 2024, 8.2. 2025, 8.25. So things have been actually steady over the last couple of seasons. It's just that 1 year in 2023, things jumped up and then went right back down, just enough to, give it a sizable difference and to make it look different than what they're talking about. I don't know why it seems so much higher than last season. That's what I'm saying though. Like sometimes we'll see like weird ass scores. Like I remember a couple weeks ago, some teams like had like 19, 20 runs or whatever. It was like 19-4 or something like that, 19-2 or something like that. But then you'll look at the rest of the schedule and you may have a 1-0 game or a 4-3 game or a 3-1 game or whatever. So even though one team may just blow somebody else out the water, there could be other teams in the league that ain't doing shit. So it's a balance there, man, and you just got to get with it. Things are weird in sports and it may always seem a certain way. That's why I always say, like, if I feel like it's something off about it, I'll do a deeper dive into the numbers and check it out and just see what they're saying. So it is what it is. I gotta make sure I send my manager a text because I gotta make sure I let him know. But yeah, man, like it's just one of them things, bro. Like we gotta understand that there's gonna be only so much that we can do and we can look at or whatever. It does get misleading. The double digit runs is what maybe, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Cause you'll see like those crazy games, and those will be the games that they show the highlights of. And a lot of us, let's just be honest, we're not sitting there watching baseball every single night, and we're definitely not watching multiple games every single day. We're probably looking at more highlights than anything, and we'll see the highlights of the big scoring games and all the hits and home runs that teams have, and we thinking to ourselves like, this don't seem normal. It seems a little bit out of whack. But if you're only like paying attention to just the highlights and you're not actually like looking at the numbers and looking at the schedule and the scores of all the games every day, day in, day out, it'll seem to you like scoring is up or hits or home runs are up because you're just watching the highlights. That's why I say I know I like to dive into numbers and stuff like that. And I don't like to over rely on statistics or anything like that. But those are things that are actual facts that we can prove, that we can look at and say, hey, here is, you made this statement, but here's proof to prove your statement, or here's proof to say that your statement is factually incorrect. That's why I will go to the stats when I look at stuff like that. Because you gotta like pay attention to it because it'll definitely mislead you. It'll definitely mislead you. That, you know what? They sure did beat the Dodgers ass last Friday. That was beautiful. I loved every second of it. Because the Dodgers still crying about 2017. Even though like their team has been proven to be one of the teams that was caught doing underhanded shit, you're still crying about it. And if you're still crying about it, what about those games when the Astros beat y'all at Dodger Stadium? Game 2 and game 5 specifically, if I'm not mistaken. Like that was at your place. So they didn't have the trash cans or whatever it was that was giving them the advantage then. What about those games? See, when you bring up stuff like that, Dodger fan, oh nah. Shut your ass up, stop complaining, and learn the facts. Present the facts. Stop going off your emotions and your fandom and whatnot. Because y'all just won a World Series. Now, what if people was to say, "Oh, y'all won the pandemic season series," and called your ring less credible that year because it was won in the pandemic shortened season? Then what? I mean, come on now. Like, what we really talking about? So, Dodgers fans, y'all can just EAD for all I care. I hate it when they get with the crying and stuff like that, the whining and crying and all of that. Those are the fan bases that I truly dislike the most. The ones that talk the loudest, and most times they're the loudest and the most wrong. I just can't stand fan bases like that. But nah, man, it's as far as I'm concerned, the like MLB has been pretty entertaining, and I'm glad that they brought in the pitch clock to shorten games up because it did shorten games by a little over 20 minutes from one season to the next. So that was beautiful to see. And they're trying different things. What they need to do is hopefully eventually at some point a lot of these old fogey writers that's part of the Baseball Writers Association of America will just age and retire out, and newer people with newer thoughts and newer blood will come in. So that way we can get away from all of this traditionalist, holding on to all this old school unwritten rule type of bullshit in baseball, and kind of modernize the game a little bit and modernize the thought process behind Hall of Fame voting, and other voting items and things like that around MLB when it comes to the Baseball Writers Association of America. But until then, we just gotta wait it out. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Um, let me see, bruh. The fight ain't till September. It is what? It's July 16th. That fight ain't till September 13th or whatever. We gonna talk about that later. I'm not about to talk about a boxing match 2 months out. Don't nobody want to hear that right now. You a serious boxing fan, bro. Like, yeah, you gonna want to talk about it. Yeah, September 13th. Man, I ain't talking about that fight right now. I know, I can't wait. I already knew that was gonna be his next comment. And here he go feeding into the shit. Whoever Oscar is behind. Hey man, y'all know how that stuff go in boxing, bro. Promoters be paying people off. And the thing that I hate about boxing, and I'm gonna go on that boxing rant right now, is that the promoters have control over the athletic commissions who have control over the sport. And when the promoters are more powerful than the governing bodies themselves, that's a problem. And that has been boxing's problem for decades now. The governing bodies, these athletic commissions, and these boxing organizations and stuff like that, they need to take back control of this sport some way, somehow, and start pushing back on these promoters. And if you really want to push back on them, you got to band together, like they've banded together to bully y'all and bully them back. Take away their ability to promote fights. Don't grant them permits and clearances for their fighters and stuff like that, or their events or whatever. Force them to go overseas if they want to go out of the United States. But I mean, unless y'all try to take your sport back, or somebody decides to organize y'all or something like that, boxing is going to continuously look like the way it looks. And this is why you don't get, and here's another thing. And we've talked about this before on the show. This is why I wish Keyz was here tonight, because we've talked about fighters that will craft careers instead of trying to build a legacy. And the difference is when you try to craft a career, I want to say Keyz called it the Floyd Mayweather model. But when you try to craft a career, you pick and choose when you're going to fight people and who you're going to fight and when you're going to fight them and whatnot, in order to, like, okay, I'm going to build my record up. And the promoters don't want to see their fighters lose. So they do things like, okay, cool, we're going to help you craft a career instead of building a legacy. When you build a legacy, you fight all the top fighters in your division, you beat them all, win all the belts, then you move up if you can move up in weight. You beat all of them, okay, I'm going to move up again. And beat everybody ass on that list until before you move on. Or you just prove that I'm so dominant over this division, I'm going to move up and try to dominate the next one. That's what boxers used to do back in the day. They don't do that now. So you get stuff like guys don't want to fight guys and guys want to, dictate terms and stuff like that. That's why Jay is saying I'm happy Dana White is getting involved with boxing now. But see, that's where Dana's background comes from. Dana used to box, and he still boxes, as part of his workout plan or whatever and whatnot. So, bro, we've been saying this since that fight happened. Like me and Jay was talking about this when the fight got signed. He was like, "Man, I don't know, bro. This is a bad fight for Canelo because Floyd too skilled for him to fight him this early in his career." Then there was some people that was pushing back on me and him saying that, "Nah, man, Canelo gonna knock Floyd out. It's Floyd about to take his first L, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like, exactly. He was way too inexperienced. He didn't know how to fight a guy that was that quick, that fast, not only with his feet, but also with his hands and his head movement. He didn't know at that time. He didn't know how to bob and weave and how to, like, get back and not get countered so quickly and easily the way Floyd was countering him so quickly, because he was still like kind of slow, methodical, plotting a little bit. He had some quickness to him, but he wasn't quick enough, and he didn't have the movement enough and the shoulder feints and side punches and different things like that, fighting at angles and stuff. He didn't have that in his bag back then. He got more of that in his bag now, but shit, Floyd ain't fighting no more. So the best we can hope for is to see him in this fight against Bud Crawford. So we're gonna see, but we're gonna wait until there's a little bit closer to kind of preview that fight, though, man. Other news: the Jets locked up Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson by making them one of the highest paid wide receivers as far as Wilson is concerned, and making Gardner, I believe, the highest paid in AAP annual average per year salary for Sauce Gardner as a corner. So shout out to those guys for getting their bag. And the Jets did say that they were going to prioritize getting those guys locked up this offseason because they drafted them, I want to say, in that same year. So they were eligible both for their rookie year extensions, and they got them. So shout out to them. But if Wilson can get on the same page, which he should, because he's proven that with all the different quarterbacks that he's played with, he's consistently had, I want to say like 80 catches, 1,000 yards each year since his rookie year, or like roughly 5 touchdowns or so. He's done that with all these different quarterbacks. Now he gets his quarterback that he had in college throwing to him again. And hopefully if those guys can, rekindle that flame that they had back at Ohio State and that chemistry, it'll be good for both Wilson and Fields to get back with each other. Interested to see what Justin Fields does. But yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Like, I'm gonna be interested to see what he does, because they've done a good job about putting a decent team around him, not just on the offensive side of the ball, but also on the defensive side of the ball. And Aaron Glenn is one of those guys that I truly, truly believe in, man. Like, big time believe in Aaron Glenn. He's originally from up on the north side of Houston. Matter of fact, I was just talking to someone the other day that went to a rival high school of Aaron Glenn. But yeah, they kind of played each other in football back in the day, or like they were rival high schools or something like that. But anyway, he went to A&M. Went on to play with the Jets and came back and played with the Texans, played with the Cowboys a little bit, and then was done. But he is a great coach, and from all things that I've heard, like he is one of those ones. Like he's one of those guys where he's just a real good dude, a genuine dude. He's not like some hard ass or dictator or nothing like that. And he's not a big softy like players coach or anything like that. He's just a really good quality football coach who expects and demands greatness and excellence from everybody that's involved in the organization, not just his players, but his fellow coaches as well, guys that's on his staff and whatnot. So when you talk about an Aaron Glenn, you're talking about a good quality football coach. So I wish nothing but good things for him, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm trying to think of what else I had to cover for y'all because I didn't want to be too long tonight because I got some studying to do. But nah, man, that was about it though. Because I mean, sometimes, man, there's things that happen, and there's not much you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? How do you think Russell Wilson will do in New York? He expects to be a start also. They're already gonna have like that little competition or whatever, and they drafted Jackson Dart. They moved up to draft Jackson Dart in the first round, right? So you gotta expect the contract that they gave Jameis was more congruent with him being a backup, maybe spot starter. The contract that they gave Russ was more or less like, okay, you're a lower end tier starter, but they gave him like a lower end tier starter type of contract. But then you backdoor and trade back up into the first round to draft the first round quarterback. So it's like, to me, it would be, we're going to start the veteran that we paid the most money in Russ, and we're going to have Jameis as a backup. But we're just gonna keep Jackson Dart. Like, we're gonna sit you on the bench, youngin, and we want you to prove, just soak it in for right now, and then let's see where we can go. If Dart gets in that room and on the board and he learns that offense and he impresses and continues to impress the way he did in the pre-draft meetings that he did with the Giants, and then he outperforms Russ and or Jameis, we might see a situation. We don't know. I don't know, but I think that's going to be something to watch because teams always want to make sure those rookie quarterbacks get in and show what they can do as soon as possible, because when that third or so year comes and they have to determine whether or not we're going to pick up that fifth year option and or start to enter into extension talks, they got to know what they got. And the more reps and everything you get out of a guy, the faster you can learn what he can do and what he can offer. Plus, I don't think what's his name? Brian Daboll has a very long leash. Like, I wish him well, and I hope he does well for selfish reasons, because I have a buddy of mine that's trying to get in over there or whatever. So I hope Daboll does stick around for years and years to come, and I hope my homeboy gets in over there. Shout out to Stan, man, bro. I got to get you on this pod because you are about to get stupid busy with NFL season coming up and college football. He's a coach, so I've been trying to work on that, but he ended up getting this internship program with the Giants. I think he's back up there now. So I don't know, man. I'll figure out a time. Matter of fact, I'm about to text him right now before I forget, because I'm telling you, I will forget. On Wednesday night, soon you get too busy. There we go. I just had to make sure, because I will forget, bro. Aaron Glenn owned the Williams chicken in front of PV. Oh, damn! I did not know that. I didn't know he owned that franchise. Yeah, he making bank, bank. You got a Williams chicken in front of PV. Shit, I know he made money off of that one. You, man, get Go to bed, bro. Because I know your ass got to go to work tomorrow. Go to bed. I'm about the Saints going to the Super Bowl, man. I was in the class this morning at work and didn't even realize one of my coworkers, cool ass dude, like he been helping me out, talking to me and stuff like that. He was like, "Man, I didn't know you was, a Saints fan." I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm from New Orleans." Da, da, da. So we was talking about it, and he was like, "So what you think? What you think?" I was like, "Bro, listen, they're either gonna have a rookie or a second year player starting at quarterback. Is what it's gonna look like." And I was like, honestly, I'd rather have the rookie because he looks a little bit more impressive right now. He was like, man, but you ain't seen the film from OTAs. I was like, I've seen it. I've also seen some impressive stuff from him. I was like, but the thing is, he's endearing himself to the community, which puts the fans and everything behind him, and he's doing and saying all the right things in the media and in practice and stuff like that, which gets the coaches to like him. Not saying that Spencer Rattler isn't. And Spencer Rattler really didn't have a fair shake last year when he did get to play and start because he had the shittiest line and was throwing to like eighth string receivers that were his starters. So guys that were on other teams' practice squads were the guys that he was throwing to and had blocking for him. So he didn't really get a fair shake. However, when you draft a guy as high as you do a Tyler Shuck, and then you look at, okay, well, we drafted this Rattler in the 5th round last year, just as a hey, let's take a chance on this kid and see what we got. But when you draft a guy in the higher upper end within the first 10 picks in the 2nd round, it's a lot more you got invested in that kid. Because there's a lot of other players that could have filled a lot of other holes that the Saints could have taken besides taking a quarterback. So they're going to give him a fair shot. That's all I'm saying. Oh, you still at work? Oh, okay. Then go to work then and stop saying crazy shit on my pie in the comments. Nah, man, that's my brother for life, man. Like I'll move furniture and travel long distances to move said furniture behind that dude, man. Like I promise you, like don't mess with him, his wife, or his kids, because that's like for real, for real. I will hurt you behind that dude right there. Like he been there for me through all the ups and downs, like since I was a little kid, and like always, I'm talking about always been there, no matter what. Like I will send you a one-way ticket to meet Jesus if you mess with that dude, man. Real talk. Real talk. But look, man, I'm about to get off of here because I got some reading and studying to do. I need to fix me another snack because I have my drink poured for the night and I just haven't even touched it yet. But I got some reading and some studying to do for work tomorrow. Y'all need to be good, be easy. Uh don't do nothing I wouldn't do. And always remember, be good or be good at it. And if you're gonna be bad, be the worst. Deuces, ooses. Where Marty ass at? We need a Samoan to say that for us, so it sound even better. But anyway, man, we'll holler at y'all next week for episode 84. This has been episode 83. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We out of here. Time to go eat.